On today's show, why different things float.
And information on tomorrow's pools.
TJTV starts now. Good morning, Jags. It's First Things First period.
And that means it's time for our morning show, First Things First on TJTV.
I'm Eva.
And I'm Malia. This is Toby the Jaguar.
Like always, let's find out what clubs are happening after school today.
Buddy, take it away.
Good morning, Jags. I'm Buddy with today's club report. Today, the Art Club is happening in MK5 from 3 to 4. If you find art interesting, the Art Club is a good place to start. The LGBTQ Club is happening at MK8 from 2:45 to 3:15. The Bacon Club is happening on Zoom at 3:30. And just a couple of updates for Debate Club. Debate Club is now meeting from 2:45 to 3:45 instead of 3:30. Additionally, there will be no Debate Club on Monday, April 18th. Buddy, make sure you check out these clubs and don't forget, if you want to join them, just show up to one of their meetings. Buddy, join a club and have some fun.
We all know what happens when you lie back in the pool or when you throw a beach ball in the water. You and the ball will both float.
But do you know why things float? Buoyancy is the reason why all things float. Let's go to Charlotte to learn more about buoyancy.
Hi, I'm Charlotte. Whenever you get into a pool of water, you probably know that you're going to sink to the bottom. But when you put a beach ball filled with air into the water, it floats on top. Have you ever wondered how and why this happens? The answer has to do with a special property of fluids. Fluids are substances that flow easily. Liquids and gases are fluids because they have no fixed shape, and they do not resist forces in the way solids do. When you push against a solid, it pushes back. When you push a fluid, it does not seem to resist, but they do react. When you try to push a beach ball underwater, it takes a large amount of force to keep it under. When you release the ball, it's lifted upward by the buoyant force. The buoyant force is an upward push a fluid exerts on objects. The buoyant force also applies to objects that do not float. I'm sure you've noticed that when an object sinks in the water, it falls slowly. The buoyant force is pushing against the downward force of gravity. That's why objects weigh less in the water than they do on land. When an object is placed into the water, some moves aside to create space for it. The water level rises a small amount. This movement is called displacement. The object and the displaced water take up the same amount of space. They have an equal volume. Another cool thing about displacement is that the difference between the object's weight on land and in water is the weight of the displaced water. The density of an object determines if the buoyant force is strong enough to make it float. Density is the amount of mass in a given volume. If a bowling ball, beach ball, and a water balloon, all with an equal volume, were submerged in water, they would all displace the same amount. That means that the same amount of buoyant force will be applied to all the objects, but they have different densities. The bowling ball has a higher density than the water. It weighs more than the water it displaces. It has negative buoyancy, so the ball sinks. The water balloon has an equal weight to the displaced water. It has neutral buoyancy, so the balloon hovers. The beach ball has positive buoyancy because it weighs less in the water than it displaces. The beach ball will float on top of the water. Can you think of any other objects that float? You probably thought of a boat. Boat hulls can be made of materials that are much more dense than water. They just have to be shaped to capture air. When enough space is created, an equal volume of water is heavier than the boat. And the buoyant force doesn't just apply to liquids. It affects all fluids, including gases. If you fill a balloon with helium, it floats because helium weighs less than the elements that make up our atmosphere, oxygen and nitrogen. The balloon has less weight than the air it occupies. When you blow into a balloon to fill it up, you're putting carbon dioxide into it. Carbon dioxide has a greater atomic mass than the elements that are in the atmosphere, which means that carbon dioxide atoms are heavier than those that make up nitrogen, and oxygen. The next time you have a balloon, try filling one with helium and blow another balloon with carbon dioxide and see which balloon will float for a longer time. I hope you have learned something new today, and I'll see you soon for another topic.
Some of us have seen new murals in our school gym, but not everyone knows all the hard work that's put into the huge art piece.
Savannah talked to Mr. Tony Byrne, the artist who created the mural. Take it from here, Savannah.
Hey Jags, you probably didn't notice if you're not in PE, but there are some new murals in the gym. There are 2 in total, but there will be 4 at the end. They are created by Mr. Tony Byrne and were spray painted on. Now let's go to Mr. Tony Byrne to find more about him.
I was an artist. I always was an artist since I was like 7 or 8 years old. I loved drawing. I loved painting. I loved creating. I went to college. I was an art major in college. That was something that I wanted to study, and I just continued on my art path throughout my adult life. I've been painting murals for about 17 years, and in Elk Grove probably for about 12. I started back in 2010. My first mural was at Laguna Creek High School. I worked with 3 students there on a locker scene that we created. When schools start seeing the value of what murals bring to their community, and the engagement and the excitement and how to build school culture through art, it tends to be kind of contagious, and so they want more of that. I do a lot of other creative things, like I paint on shoes, I'll do acrylic pours, a variety of different creative outlets that are inspired by creating art. So painting murals is just one of them. Painting murals is very unique because it's large, like it's gigantic, right? It's such a huge scale, and it's such a great challenge to problem solve such a large canvas. Actually, the city the city hired me to paint a bridge over on Laguna Springs Drive, and now they just hired me to paint another bridge on Poppy Ridge. So I'm going to be doing one over there, and actually in your community. So when you guys drive around, you're going to see some of my work.
Congratulations, Mr. Tony, on being able to paint those bridges for the city. I can't wait to see more of your murals around campus. I'm Savannah Horsecorda reporting for TJTV.
And just a reminder that before we go, that we have 2 Jags flagpoles tomorrow.
There's a PBIS Jag Swag pull for the ice cream food truck tomorrow, so make sure to get your Jag Swag in by 2 p.m. today.
We also have a golden ticket pull for a custom gaming keyboard or controller. Now that's all we have for today.
We'll be back tomorrow with another episode of First Things First on TJTV.
I'm Eva.
And I'm Aaliyah.
And this is Toby the Jaguar.
Make today your best day yet.